strokes a couple of hours ago. So it takes a lot of, as the Puerto Ricans say, confianza, right? And confidence to do something of that magnitude. And, you know, all of you are playing a significant part in helping other people obtain light, which is a great karmic achievement. A lot of people that expose and open the doorway and help other people to have light in the divine form, there's a lot of ashe that comes with that. So I'm not going to keep you guys long. I really just wanted us to kind of spend a little bit of, because I am still working on paring down a lot of the information and deciding what's going to stay in the seminar, what's not. And that's really annoying because I'm still getting like, okay, you have to put this in, you have to put that in. Is it bright enough in here? See, it seems kind of dim. Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
12 hours you have from now.
It's still not. I need another 12 days.
Wow.
Seriously. As a result of me having to do that, the next time we do this, the information is going to be, there's going to be a lot more, and I'm going to be switching out. So, you know, this happens with all of the seminars. Certain information gets switched out, other information gets inserted, and it's really like a living testament that keeps changing. So for those of you who have been to the same seminar 3 or 4 different times, you see that the information is always changing, which is good. There's really no way to put the voluminosity of what all of this means in one seminar, even if it was a seminar that was a week long, 12 hours a day. To really be able to, and you know, and the reason that we cannot do a seminar of that magnitude is because people have to work. People have families that they have to tend to. People have different, you know, people really don't have the liberty to, you know, go on a retreat for a week. You know, they may have to do a quick version of something like that for the weekend or a couple of weeks. And ultimately, what I would like to see in our lifetimes is for people to have more liberty, which means freedom to do those things. And this is one of the reasons, again, why I'm so adamant about people honoring their egon, their ancestors, because again, I look at some people and I can see, you know, the ancestors are like this behind them. Like, yeah, you know, and the reason that they have that postulation is because a lot of people, unfortunately, are, you know, the gods, angels, and they completely ignore their ancestors. And that's the first line around you. Tracy Barrett? Yes?
There was someone earlier on today, and during her attunement, she saw a being that looked like rock.
Like rock, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know the Thor Ragnarok movie, when it came out, there was a being in there that was made out of rock.
Mm-hmm.
And just before the film came out, I went to see it, and I had to record it at home, and I saw, first of all, he was a guy, and then we were just walking on the road. Then we were up in space, but he was the same guy, but he turned into a rock being. And we were up in space, and he was trying to teach me how to ride a hoverboard. And eventually I got it, but I just wanted to know, what was that about, and who is the rock being?
I don't know. That you dreamed of, I don't know. What I can tell you that
Because she mentioned about a rock being, you said to her.
one of the things that I can tell you is I don't know everything. So people come with, you know, I had this thought in my mind, there was this spider. What does that mean? What did that mean? Who was that spider? What was his name? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. What I can tell you is that the formation of rocks belong to mountains. Mountains are alive. They communicate with each other. They move very slow. And if you were to have a camera and do a time lapse, eventually you would see movement coming from them. If you want to see what that may look like, there's a movie called Noah. You guys see that movie?
Yeah.
And the rocks, the rocks are moving and they're talking about, how they've seen things that have happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. And humans don't live that long to witness these kind of creatures and how they interrelate with our reality. And one of the things too, that every dream or recording that you have is not significant to your growth. I don't, really like to say that because I don't want to give people the reason to, throw out the baby with the bathwater and say, oh, that didn't mean anything, so I'm not going to pay attention to it. You have to be astute enough to, again, actively, and this is kind of a refresher course. If you don't start, and I know a lot of you aren't doing it still. However, the benefit of creating, when you start creating time in your schedule, instead of being a prisoner of the time that you don't have, you're taking more of your power to do things. And people create time for the things that are close to their heart and to the things that they want to do. So whenever people say, well, I don't have the time, that is a capitulation of a cop-out. I don't want to be creative enough to create the time to do something. You have a question? Sure.
I don't know if I should ask this in the seminar, but I'll ask you because we're all here and we're light workers. So I just wanted to ask you, what will be the line that we draw between the divine, and justification of the darkness when we're encountered with some of these situations, that we feel like maybe we can assist, but not put ourselves in the bottom state.
That's a good question.
When I was in high school, I was bullied by a couple of people that were a lot bigger than me that I was afraid of. There was one guy named, and his eyebrows were like this, he was like, and this was back in 1986. 2 years before that, I saw, we had a crew called FMF, which is called Fabulous Mother. Right, Graffiti played Gano, FMF, yeah. And this guy he just liked to fight. And one day, our crew, and his crew, we had a face-off. This is in 1984. He's like, where Gano at? Hey, yo, give me a one-on-one with all y'all, and I'll be straight. And I was like, and I hid behind, so Puerto Rican, a friend of mine, I was like, oh my God. So David, who was 19 at the time, he just came from the military, he stepped up, he just came from the military. He had no fear. He's handled guns, boot camp, and all of that. So he stepped up, and picked him up, and body slammed him. And I said, oh! And the rumble ensued, and back then, guys used, they had canes. That was the style back then, canes, ponies, and all that stuff. Canes flying, bottles of Valentine air flying, and all that stuff. I don't remember what happened, but I was safe. No. The guy that I was hiding behind, his name was John Velasquez. His name was wrong. Cockeyed Puerto Rican dude. He was my best friend, but he had a heart of a lion. He literally had a shard of glass in his skull that came out years later from that night. I know I must have fought, but I don't remember how far that went. I just remember that incident. Now, I'm going to answer your question with a personal series of things that have happened, and I hope that you get it. Later on, I really got tired of cowering from this dude. And I started working out, I started doing push-ups, I started boxing, I started fighting, I started slap boxing. Slap boxing is something that we do in the street, 52 hand block, and I got good at it. And there was a list of people that either I fought and lost with, or people that I didn't fight at all. And I started going to them one by one and say, hey, how you doing, man? What's that? I saw in Stapleton, Hey, you doing? What's up? Yeah, you good? What's up? Yeah, we started slapping this, like all of this, catching in the street. And he was like, yo, man, what put that on? I said, you don't remember? And I did this with about 6 or 7 people that I was really afraid of. And the list was complete. I've talked to Liz about this a few times. There was something in me that needed to address the suffrage that I went through because, like Tupac said, and he got this from other books, a soldier dies once. A coward dies 1,000 deaths. With the memory of the times that you backed down and didn't speak up for yourself. Or the times where you let something happen where you should have addressed it right then. And the invitation is it's not always a spiritual thing. Sometimes it's the law of survival of the fittest. You have a divine right to maintain sovereignty over, don't touch me. Right. Doesn't mean that you should go head up with the police because you're not going to win that. But if you have a situation where you have to risk your life to save an innocent child, that's an opportunity for you to reincarnate in a situation that's 10 times better than anything that you've lived in your current life. Did you guys know that? So to lose your life in valor and justify it because it is a sacrifice to help someone else. People lose their lives all the time. And when they wake up from that death, they wake up somewhere else and it's 1,000 times better, 10 times better, 100 times better than anything they've ever experienced. And that's the key to not being a coward. And that is the key to facing your fears. Because eventually your fears, whether it's somebody like or it is a bully in your life that is represented by a job, a situation, a circumstance, a challenge with money, speaking your truth, or being who you really are, or being ashamed of what you look like. It's another reason why I stopped lying my hair, because I said, every time I dye my hair, I'm like, what am I doing this for? This is ridiculous. This is not really what I look like. And the moment I stopped doing that, I started growing in another direction. And I started getting a lot more about who I was. And I've been dyeing my hair for, oh wow, ooh, cut my finger.
That boxing you were just doing.
Right? Yeah, that's, got caught up. There was something inside of me that was asking me to be authentic and release anything that doesn't feel good about who you are and what you had to start dressing different. You guys saw the video I talked about how I used to dress, and I wasn't happy with that. It's only because I got free clothes for years. When you're an actor, they have this thing called product placement. And there are clothing companies that they want, we had a lot of photo ops, so whenever you go to a movie premiere or you do films, they'll give you thousands and thousands of dollars worth of free clothes. I give clothes away and stuff, and the clothes that I was wearing was hood. I looked like a knucklehead. I'm like, and I'd be on the train and I would see people that were dressed up, nice shoes and boots and, slacks, and here I am, jeans, and I'm like, I don't feel right about what I'm, and it took me a long time to figure out that, dude, you're dressing like somebody that you're really not. This is part of, soul searching and really being honest about the things that bother you about yourself. And what are you going to do to change it? If you feel like you want to, all of you have the freedom and the right to change everything about yourself and morph into the person that you admire and respect.
You want to do it the hard way, huh?